My name is Dave McCullough and I'm a graphic designer. Well, what inspired me to go into graphic design was I've always been a drawer and very artistic growing up and things like that. And as I got older and had more inspiration from family and friends and things like that as becoming artists and seeing that they're not making any money, I decided to try and find a route that I could still be an artist and still make a decent living. I do a lot of photography, working with different clients on a commercial basis. Well, I started as a hobby, point and shoot camera when I was in high school, and it just kind of started to grow from there. And people started to see that, and family mostly started to see that I had a real knack for it. And my dad was a photographer growing up and things like that, and back in the 70s and 80s and things like that. So I kind of grew up a little bit around that stuff. So that's kind of how I really got into it. And as I got older and was able to afford better cameras and things like that, I really started to grow and then started to get more recognition, especially with social media and things like that. Most exciting thing and that I find about photography and graphic design is being able to combine the two elements together. With the clients that I work with right now, I'm actually working on rebranding. A campground has asked me to rebrand for them and do all of their photography and everything else, and so being able to combine the two and kind of have my hands on the entire way. I guess I'm kind of a control freak when it comes to that kind of stuff, so not having somebody send me images, but being able to take the images, manipulate them, and then be able to put that along with the brand, colors, graphics, everything like that is really what I like to do. I've always had a knack with photography, and the niche market that I really like is kind of the, I guess you could say kind of the more extreme sports, I guess you could go with. But that would be my dream job, is being a photographer for companies like Red Bull and Monster and things like that, and being able to go to different events throughout the world and photograph and work for them, doing their different publishings and their different prints and stuff like that. The path that I took is a little bit, well, it was different than most people. When I graduated high school, I left for college, figured that I didn't like what I was going to college for, came home and went to work, and then decided that what I really enjoyed was cars, and so I became a mechanic, and I worked as a mechanic and in different capacities in the automotive industry for about 7 years, 8 years, and then woke up one morning and said that I don't like what I'm doing anymore and decided to change. One thing that I do all the time is I'm always watching tutorials on new advances in even things like Photoshop. Every time that with CS6 and everything in the Creative Cloud, it's always updating, and there's so many things that you never really know about unless somebody else points them out to you. So I'm always watching those things online, and that's really the biggest part, is I've learned a lot of things just watching tutorials and how to manipulate images, how to create vectors and things like that, just watching these kind of tutorials through them or lynda.com and things like that. Projects that I really like to work on is rebranding for somebody who is not well established, but maybe had done something 10 years ago, but now wants to come up with the times and kind of just readjust where their focal point, I guess, is. And that's what I really like to do, is it's taking something that's established and fine-tuning it to fit their needs better or change a direction for them. And it's really great looking at the original brand and then putting it next to the other one, and the customer looking at it and going, that's amazing. Why didn't we think of that? We had somebody who was just out of school who did the first one, and we thought that was great, but this is amazing. And that's the part that I really like, especially about that, is the gratification almost of the customer.